With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 1 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, having Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
番組は多言語放送です。放送予定は suprememastertv.com/schedule。
Bring the young children back into the kitchen. Let them play with their food. If they make a mess, it doesn't matter, but they will always eat what they cook.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
There are many people in Nepal who follow a vegetarian lifestyle on religious and spiritual grounds. We are using social media as a tool to unite vegetarians and vegans to spread awareness. Krishna Gurung, vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Sveiki atvykę, noble viewers. Sveiki atvykę is welcome in Lithuanian. I am Justina. The caring Lithuanians pray that all humankind urgently turn to the loving vegan lifestyle for long-lasting peace to reign on earth. The sublimely beautiful country of Lithuania is located in Northern Europe, along the southeastern shore of the Baltic Sea. Lithuania's culture spans many centuries, and the country has been honored with the designation of 11 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Five national parks also serve to protect many species of bird people and mammal people, as well as 200-year-old trees. Many talented Lithuanians have gained international acclaim for their creative and professional contributions. In the world of sports, basketball greats include Arvydas Sabonis, Jonas Valanciunas, and Šarūnas Marčiulionis. In music, there is the current conductor Mirga Gražinytė Tyla and the 19th century artist and composer Mikalojus Konstantinas Čiurlionis, who was devoted to preserving Lithuanian culture. Čiurlionis collected and published Lithuanian folk songs, while also creating some 800 original paintings and musical compositions. The capital of Lithuania, Vilnius, is a fascinating mix of contemporary and ancient, rich in architecture and historical monuments. The city's annual Lithuanian Song Festival is an amazing collection of talent and tradition, with performances from citizens of all ages. This spectacular event culminates in a final performance of some 15,000 participants united in song. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. Organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or MEVEG, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates, the event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees, and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi. We now invite you to join us for part 17 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or MEVEG Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with Mohana Gill, vegetarian, an award-winning author and veg advocate, who will provide tips on how to encourage children to eat more fruits and vegetables.
All right, before I introduce Mohana, please look at how beautiful and colorful her book is. I mean, Sandhya was showing it to me in the house and I thought it was amazing and very, very colorful, even for an adult like me. So her talk is going to be that, you know, our children are our future, so how can we promote that they start thinking about healthy lifestyle, about developing better eating habits. Usually, you know, kids, you are right there, and I don't blame you that, you know, sometimes you don't like to eat vegetables because, you know, it was forced on us. The first 2 years of our life, I mean, we didn't have much choice, whatever our moms or dads or anybody was feeding us. And then we developed a bit of independence, and then we started either throwing it out or moving our head, correct? And since then, eat your veggies. You can have dessert later. So dessert became very, very interesting, and vegetables became that, oh, I have to finish those. Just like you have to finish your homework before you watch TV, right? I think reverse psychology needs to be in place for all the children, right? So that they do the things opposite to what we are saying. Would that work on you, kiddos? What do you think? Reverse psychology works? All right. Let me introduce Mohana Gill to you, who will be talking about very interesting ways, especially for parents and teachers, as to how we can encourage kids to start thinking about healthy eating habits. Mohana was born in Myanmar and graduated with a diploma in industrial administration from University of Manchester and an MBA from University of Toronto. She's worked in the educational sector in Malaysia, Myanmar, and she's the author of 2 award-winning and very, very lovely, colorful books for children called Fruitastic and Vegemania. And it generally talks about inculcating healthy eating habits at a young age. Her next book, which is, I think, either in publication or will be published soon, will be called Happylicious. I love the titles. They are really catchy and they are very colorful. And on a personal note, she's also known as the traveling gourmet. So I'm hoping that one of these days I will be able to also taste whatever she cooks. Mohana, can I please request you to come on the stage? A big hand, please.
Good evening. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to talk to you today about something that is very close to my heart, and also, I would imagine, very close to all your hearts as well. Yeah, and that is children. I think children are our future, and the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future. My interest is basically fruit and vegetables, and I started writing about 4 or 5 years ago as my old age hobby. And the first thing that one of my sons said to me when I was writing my first book, he said, "Who's going to buy your book, Mom? You probably will end up giving it away to all your friends and relatives." And I said to him, "That's okay. Even if I can do that, and that makes me happy, I think it's okay." But I was very lucky with both my books. My book, Fruitastic, which is all about fruits, was awarded by the Gourmand World Cookbook Awards with a special jury award. Then I went on and I wrote Vegemania, all about vegetables, because it was basically written for my son, who at the age of 24 decided to become a vegetarian. And he was a real food gourmet, and I wanted to write a book so that he would enjoy his food in the vegetarian. And Vegemania, luckily for me, was awarded the best vegetarian book in the world for 2008. Now, this year, I thought that we need to address this thing for our children. So I came up with 2 books called Haley's Fruitastic Garden and Haley's Vegemania Garden. These books were inspired by my little granddaughter, and it's a story about a little girl who goes into the magic world of fruits and vegetables and discovers the different types of fruits and vegetables. And I thought, our children today, when you ask them, "Where do you get your pineapple?" they will tell you, "The supermarket." They don't know how pineapples grow, where they grow, and how they grow. So that's what I've done in these books. So today I just want to talk to you very briefly about how to make it easy for children to eat more fruit and vegetables. Now, children's eating habits are, as you know, of utmost importance, and a balanced diet when young will affect the entire lifetime. You can see a lot of the parents, when they talk to me, complain that their children don't eat enough fruit and vegetables. So I think if we introduce fruit and vegetables to them when they are young, in a fun kind of a way, hopefully we will get there. Now, getting children to eat their fruit and vegetables is also an age-old problem, made even more difficult in these times of junk foods. Everybody knows McDonald's, and everybody knows all the other kind of food that you can buy in the market. But you cook for them some food in the house, and most of them will say, no, I'd rather go to McDonald's or I'd rather go to KFC. Now, all these things I think I don't have to go through because everybody's spoken about nourishment and how good vegetables and fruits are for you. So I think what we need to do is that I still think that the food that we present to our children has got to have a little bit more thought in it. And children will always eat food that they cook themselves. And this is what I want to do now. I want to start a program which they have in the United States called Kids in the Kitchen. Bring the young children back into the kitchen. Let them play with their food. If they make a mess, it doesn't matter, but they will always eat what they cook. So these books have got some very, very simple recipes that anybody can do. Of course, the biggest problem the mothers will tell me is that the kids mess up the kitchen, which is one problem. The other thing, of course, they don't have the time. But, even if it means once a month or once a week or whatever, where everybody can get into the kitchen, play with food, and cook it, I think slowly they will get into the habit of doing that. The same thing what everybody has said, your body is like an engine and it needs fuel, etc., etc., so that's fine. Now, it is hard to argue that with the health benefits of a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, vitamins, and of course, at one time it was 5 a day, but now people are talking about 7 to 9 helpings of fruit and vegetables a day. And as much as we may think it's very difficult, it really is not. Because if you start off with the fruit juice or a smoothie in the morning, then you can have some dried fruit, then you can have, I think a banana and an apple is something that should always be with children. You can eat it at any time. carry it with you. You don't, need any great utensils to be able to use that kind of fruit. In fact, most kids and more than 85% of elementary school children do not get the recommended amount of fruit and vegetables. As much as we would want our children to eat fruit and vegetables, we don't want our dinner time and lunch times to become a battleground, where you're sitting down and say you can't get up until you polish your plate or anything like that. So I think that if we introduce fruit and vegetables in a fun kind of a way, everybody will be able to enjoy their mealtime. The other thing that I'm really very worried about is our families, eating time becomes one eats in front of the television, one eats in front of there because it's my program and therefore I can't miss it. So I think by cooking together and by doing it, we also will be able to bring the families back to the table. And I think that's what we need to do today, to bring the families back to the table, to eat together. Even if it is one meal, and that is not happening. I think the other way around, if we bring our children into the kitchen and teach them how to cook, they will go back and tell their moms, Mom, we need to eat more salads, or, we need to eat more of this or that. So I think they will then teach their parents or tell their parents how to eat better. Maybe that might work. Also, I feel that, increasing your children's fruit and vegetable intake starts with a little bit of planning. We don't have much time, but a little bit of planning, I think, is going to work. The most important is to include them, that they're part of the whole family. Sit down together and say, what are we going to cook this Sunday? Let's come up with something that is good for mom and good for dad and good for everybody else. So they become part of the whole scenario, and then they will then probably eat the food as well. Taking them to supermarkets, showing them the foods, letting them choose. And colors. I always feel that the food for children should be like a Crayola of colors on the plate. Red and green and yellow and purple, different colors. And each food, as you know, everybody has told you how much nutrition value it has. But I look at it and say, oh, good, this is a nice platter of colorful fruits, and the children will eat it. And another thing I find that children will do is that they love dips, anything that they can dip in. So whether it is a chocolate dip or whether it's a hummus or whatever kind of dip, you cut fruits and vegetables and the children will enjoy that. Of course, another way of introducing is books, to show them books, or to buy them little cookbooks and get them all involved as well. So just a few steps, which I've told you earlier. Talk to them about fruits, a particular fruit. I think at that stage, you don't want to go into too much detail on nutritional value or minerals or vitamins, but generally that the food is good for you, and the food must taste good as well. So I think when we are cooking, we have to bear in mind a couple of things, that the food must be delicious. If it's not delicious, the children are not going to eat either. And it must be nutritious. It must look good, and it must be easy to prepare, because today people don't have time like our mothers and grandmothers used to spend hours and hours in the kitchen. So most of the recipes in these books are very, very simple recipes that you can play around with. Within half an hour, you can cook most of this food. And research has also shown that it takes a long time for children to accept a new food. Sometimes you have to show the child the food about 7, 8, 10, 20 times before he or she is going to accept it. But of course, children learn by example. So what they see their parents eating, they will eat very happily. They look and say, wow, if mom and dad can eat it, then why can't I? So I think if I started my children when they were very young, giving them exactly what we eat. Just put a little bit on the plate and let them just have a taste, without saying that this is for adults and this is for children and this is especially for me and especially for you. So I think if you do that, I think all of it is trial and error. And different children will react differently. So I don't think that there's any one set formula. But I think the most important thing is to keep trying. So, these are things that we all know, that we should not say that if you finish your meal, you will get a dessert, because I think that's about the worst thing that we can do. But a little bit of dessert is also very good. As you know, chocolate is good for you. So, you encourage them and they will eat all kinds of food. And then you also need to keep fruit and vegetables where the children can see them. Instead of buying a lot of junk food, we have more fruit and vegetables in our refrigerators. And I also feel sometimes that when children are watching television, they always like to pick and eat. So normally they will eat potato chips and they will eat popcorn and they will eat whatever else. So have a bowl of fruits, chopped up grapes, cherries, easy to eat fruit, cut cucumber, and keep it near them. As they're watching television, their little hands will go to pick up the fruit. And without even thinking, they will be biting into that fruit, crunchy, and it's sweet, and they will eat it because they want something to do. So these are the things that we need to do. I think as mothers, we all know that it's not easy to bring up children. I think it's a mindset of how much effort or how much thought you want to put into your child's plate. I always say that we as women or caregivers have a very, very important role to play, because the fate of our children is in our hands, because the food that we put in front of them is what they are going to eat and what they're going to grow up with. So it is a very big responsibility, and I think if you put a little thought to it, probably we will come up with a new generation of children who will eat more healthy, and not only eat, they will enjoy it as well. Because food is not only eating, it is eating together, it is enjoying the taste, and it is where you sit down and you can discuss what happened to you during the whole day. When we were growing up, a food time was always, what did you do and what did you do? Today, when we talk to our children, they're too busy eating because they've all got their mobile phones in their hands. They have no time to talk to you because they're either SMSing or Twittering or whatever else they do on their little phones. So I always say that dinner time, no phones, away. While you're eating, half an hour or whatever, just put that away and have fun so that it becomes an enjoyable experience. So basically, that's all I wanted to tell you guys, that it's not difficult, but it's also not easy to feed our children in a healthy way. But I think that if all of us think or decide that this is what we want to do, then somewhere along the line, I think we will succeed. I think if you take care of your body will take care of you. And I think we as parents, if we take care of our children and we come up with a new generation of kids who are healthy, physically, mentally, then I'm sure that somewhere along the line in the world we'll have a better future. Thank you.
Vegan side effect: must deal with good new friends.
Distinguished viewers, we appreciate your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or MEVEG Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 18 of this inspiring conference. Coming up next is Mount Shasta, Sacred Mountain Bathed in Mystery, part 2 of 2, right after noteworthy news. May divine love lead you on a life of contentment and happiness.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not rich.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.